Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, man, like serious breaking news. So, Charlie Kirk, who, if you're not familiar with who he is, he's a guy that likes, go around and debate people. And let's just say he's a very controversial individual. A very, very like whatever you can think of, he's probably debated about it, right? And let's just say he has a lot of haters. I'm not gonna go into whether I agree with what he says, opinions of his. I'm just gonna, make you watch some of his videos, and then you can then make a judgment and a conclusion on what you feel about him as a person and his views. But what I can say is, no one deserves to get shot because that's what's happened. He's been shot today. When he's been out, speaking, debating, he's just been shot, and like, as much as you may hate someone, I don't think anyone deserves to get shot and potentially, be unalived. But, that's what's happened. And he's got a family. And speaking about family, what I can say is one of his views were, he was asked if, let's say he has a daughter and she's 10 years old, if she got, unfortunately essayed and she ended up being pregnant, would he force her to keep the baby? And he said he would force to keep the baby. So, yeah. He's completely against abortion at any stage. He's completely against it. And, I'm not going to really get into, much. I'm going to make you watch some videos and then you can form your judgment. And then you can, let the people know and let me know how you feel about this guy. But yeah, man, this happened literally just now, people. So yeah, let me know what you think about this, man.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Oh my God. Wait, Cody, go, run. Oh!
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped and she was going to give birth and she would, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse. It's worse.
You truly, in your heart of hearts, truly believe that this is a human being. This,
Without a doubt.
without a doubt,
Yes.
this is a dolphin fetus.
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the I'm sorry, is this
It means little human being.
Charlie? I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist, okay? I live what I believe. No. What do? I get charity every single year.
And to come to conclusions, you are a culture warrior. I believe when everything is done, Mr. Kirk, people will see you and the people you supported as corrupt, as selling the country out to the lowest bidder, and of doing irreparable damage to a country I'm sure we all deep down love.
The difference,
you will have to reckon with that.
Difference
Mr. Kirk.
is when.
It's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's not a baby.
What is it then?
It is an embryo.
What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human, but
Therefore, they should have human rights.
No, I do not agree.
Oh, so small humans, no human rights. Grown humans, human rights.
It's not a small human. It's an embryo.
It has a heartbeat. It has brain
waves. That does not make it a child.
The excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you.
Yeah. If I were to be pregnant right now and forced to have a baby, that would ruin my life. If I just happened to be pregnant.
Oh, you don't happen to get pregnant. It's not like getting COVID.
I know how
it
works.
You don't get the flu.
I know.
How about this? You take
pregnant,
responsibility for your orgasms and stop eliminating people smaller than you.
So you're saying I should carry a baby and ruin my collegiate life?
How about this? Instead of saying ruin, first of all, babies are a blessing. Stop talking at them as if they're some sort of annoyance.
I will have to drop out of college.
Number two, you play certain games, you win certain prizes. If you're going to go have sex...
So you're saying I should drop out of college to support my child instead of supporting my life?
I'm saying if you're going to engage in coitus, in the practice of having children, you might end up with a baby. So know that. And guess what? You don't need to have sex before you get married. It's not like showering. It's not like eating.
Are you married?
Yes, with 2 beautiful children.
Wow, good for you.
I could tell you're not married.
Yeah.
So anyone can be a woman?
Yeah.
So do you get a period?
No. I just wonder where you get this idea that like trans people are being indoctrinated.
Okay, so are you say you're transsexual or transgender? And tell me, is there a technical difference between the two?
Damn. Okay. Some people say that there's a difference. To me, there's no difference. So it's just either or.
Okay, so by a lot, what are your chromosomes? XX or XY?
Very strange question, but
Not really.
XY. I could be intersex. Who knows?
Okay, so you were born as a man and you are a man.
No. I was born as a man, and now I'm a woman.
Okay, no, but you don't become a woman just because you dress like a woman.
Oh, goodness. What about my hormones?
I don't become black. Do I become black if I wear blackface?
That is a wild comparison, but hormones by themselves, you can actively change. By taking HRT, you can also stop taking the T suppressor.
But people are more than hormones. I mean, you have men with low testosterone. Those are called white dudes for Harris. You can have women with high testosterone. So testosterone, estrogen, and your endocrinology is more than what you are as either a man or a woman. There's brain size, there is how you process information, there is bone density, muscle mass. Every single one of your cells is either coded XX or XY. So let me ask you a question. If I wear a disguise or a costume, do I become that thing? For example, if I dress with a sombrero and start talking with a Mexican accent, do I then become that culture?
No, because that's different race.
Okay, but then wait, why, how is it different? Because you're saying that if you dress a certain way and you present a certain way, you can be as you think you are. Why can't I also just choose what culture I am?
Because you're born within a culture, you're born with...
But you were born as a man.
Thank you, thank you.
But let him finish. Got it. So what is a woman?
What is a woman is whatever you want to be.
So anyone can be a woman?
Yeah.
So do you get a period?
No. Well, actually, yes. So, no.
Wow. Can you give birth?
No. But a lot of trans people that are on hormones do get PMS symptoms.
You killed a baby, that's murder. But killing a fetus isn't murder.
What species is the fetus?
Human.
Then how is it not murder?
Because it hasn't been born yet.
Why does that make it human?
Because that's when, like, it's not dependent on the mom, and it can be, like, its own thing.
If you have a pacemaker, you're dependent. If you have a ventilator, you're dependent. Babies are in NICU units, neonatal intensive care units, they're dependent. Dependency does not equal its degree of moral worth. And so I need to understand the moral consistency. Here is a baby at 31 weeks that can survive outside of the womb. It has its own brain waves, its own consciousness, its own heartbeat, its own ability to clean its bladder. How is that not a human being? It just happens to be in a mom.
Because it hasn't come out yet. It's still living in the mom. It's still part of the mom.
Right, but it's living. It has a heart. If it's not living, how does it have a heartbeat?
Because a fetus is like a parasite. It lives off the mom.
You think babies are parasites?
Fetuses.
Right, but a fetus literally is just a word for a human being. It's a stage of development.
Before it's born.
Right, but have you ever been to a fetus shower? Why do they call it a baby shower, not a fetus shower?
Well, yes, it's a baby, but it depends on what the mother wants.
Oh, so it is a baby, not a fetus. Got it. Trans women are not women. Okay. All right, Parker, what is a woman?
A woman is an adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex. Now, define a man. Define a man.
You're looking at one, XY chromosomes in a
Okay, but does God the Father have XY chromosomes?
Okay,
prior to incarnation?
We literally have a religious
he's
topic
He's a father and he's him, but he's not a man?
We have a religious
Wait, so a man is someone with XY chromosomes, but he doesn't have XY chromosomes, yet he's still a man and he still uses preferred pronouns?
It's actually very interesting. In the original Hebrew, Adonai, do you know what Adonai is? It's the Hebrew word for God. It's actually genderless, but in the scriptures, they use he, right? And they use the masculine. Jesus Christ came to earth as a man, not as a woman, not as genderqueer. But let's go back to the...
But God the Father's a man, right? Because all fathers are men.
Well, first of all, there's a trinity. So God the Father is neither man nor woman. He is omniscient, omnipotent. He is all being on top of it.
So why do you use he?
Well, I did not. The scriptures do. You could use woman. You could say her, you could use him, but the way that the language is structured, again, it is so, God the Father is so above gender, it is so above any of our understanding.
Then why use
with
him?
Glory and understanding. Again, because you have to make a choice, either he or him or her in the original scriptures. Let's go back to, I'm happy
Some
to get into
fathers
that,
aren't men and boys.
So I'm
So some fathers
I'm
are not men and boys, not men or boys.
I'm sorry.
Some fathers are not male.
No, of course they are. I'm not.
Wait, so God the Father's a male?
Hold on, God the Father. So where do we get God the Father from? What Greek word?
From your scripture.
Well, from Abba, right, which is a very close personal term.
You're not answering my
right?
questions, and you're bringing up random language that doesn't matter.
Well, it actually does.
No,
okay?
it doesn't.
But let me get down to the root of it, because
he's not a man. You know he's not a man under your worldview.
Hold
You
on.
still use his preferred pronouns. You still call him a man.
Christ is a
but
man.
You don't do that with trans people because you're transphobic. That's why.
Okay, got it. But Christ is a man. I'm happy to get into the sexuality and
Before
gender
incarnation, he's not.
of the Trinity. Okay.
Before incarnation,
Okay.
there's no penis, there's no XY chromosomes, there's no small
hold on a
gametes.
second. Let's think about it. If that's correct, how is it then Jacob saw the face of God?
Okay, so if there's
hold on. If there was not before the incarnation, how did Jacob see the face of God? How did Jacob wrestle with God?
Characters can have faces without biology.
How did Jacob wrestle with God?
So okay, do you think that he has a body?
Well,
or was that a figurative notion of wrestle?
That's a mystery of the scriptures. I'm not here. Well, it is. I'm not here to debate theology. Can we go back to what we're talking about?
Does he actually have biology? You keep trying to pivot because you know this debunks you.
Well,
what biology does your God have?
Well, the one of Christ our Lord.
No, I meant
right?
before incarnation.
Well, to be honest, I don't quite know, and I
You
don't think
know?
the scriptures
So
are.
you don't know what a man is?
Well,
you can't define what a man is?
It's a little opaque. Again, you're looking at a man.
But your video, the largest video on TikTok is, what is a woman, 20 million views, but you don't know what a man is under your own worldview?
I said you're looking at a man, right?
Wait, but God the Father doesn't meet that criteria.
Am I looking at a man?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Just making
a
sure.
man that's beating you in a debate right now.
Okay, that's fine. Everybody, do me a favor. Please be respectful, okay?
Hello. So I have a few leading questions before my main one, because I have to be honest, I don't really know that much about you. So would you say that you're very religious?
I am religious. However, every one of my political positions is defensible from a non-religious perspective.
Okay, great. So I was under the impression that your beliefs on abortion were stemming from your religious beliefs.
Well, at the core, that is correct, but I can get that it is defensible from using reason and prudence, as I have done the last couple of
Cool. So you're not trying to illegalize abortion based on the Bible?
Well, no, not based on the Bible. My personal conviction comes from the Bible. I want to make abortion illegal because it is the only applicable extension of laws we already and standards we already have in the West. Correct.
I'm sorry, can you maybe rephrase that?
Eliminating abortion is the only logical step while we apply the standard we already have in this country to unborn life. So we have murder laws.
Yes.
Therefore, murder laws should apply to unborn life as it does to born life.
Okay. So, again, reiterating, you're not trying to instate laws based on Christian beliefs because that would be unconstitutional, right?
Well, not again, sort of, but no, I am not using scripture to defend my beliefs. However, my personal convictions start with scripture, but the political views that we're talking about here are all defensible using reason and Western tradition.
Okay. So, great. That's all I needed to know, that you weren't trying to instate laws based on Christian beliefs, because I would not be able to support anything that was so blatantly unconstitutional. But thank you for clarifying that for me. I had a whole thing ready, but I guess that wasn't necessary. Thank you so much.
Well first of all, just tell me more about how you view politics, or what. Is that okay? Or if not, and feel free to walk away. I'm not here.
Maybe not in this crowd.
That's okay. Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Archer.
Archer, thank you for coming up, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying.
And let me just say one last thing. I could tell you probably have a negative impression of Christianity, maybe. I hope one day we can earn back your support to making Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior. I'm sorry if the church has failed you in that way, because I do have strong religious convictions and beliefs, and there is a God who made you and loves you, and he sent his son to die for you.
Her name is Mom.
Okay, well, thank you. I do appreciate the candor and the courage to come up here, but we will pray for you. Thank you.
Okay. I can't get out.
Thank you, Archer.
Hey, Charlie, how are you? So I just had a question on your thoughts on if we need more gun control in the country or not. I'm very pro protecting America and the citizens that live in it. And so I think that we should have more gun control because there's a lot of school shootings that happen, as we mentioned. And, I just think it would do a lot to protect the people. And I think the Second Amendment also qualifies that we should have regulations for guns. I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Sure. Do you think gun ownership is a right or a privilege?
I think it's a right, but it comes with responsibilities.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, I think that there should be things in place, things like red flag laws and things like that. The AG just approved Mel Gibson to get his gun rights back, even though he had a domestic violence charge. So, I don't think the people that commit these violent crimes should be able to buy guns and things like that. And I think we should have red flag laws in place to make sure that those violent criminals aren't getting guns.
Okay, so let's go. So tell me, in your perfect world, what would constitute a red flag?
Just things like, we can look into any kind of medication and things like that that can affect someone's...
That could be dangerous, right? That could be there's a lot of vets that come home from war and that are on a lot of medication. A lot of vets could have their weapons taken away.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying... Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. It's the pollen or something. Thank you.
I'm not necessarily saying, it's mainly to prevent, future shootings and things like that, and also... putting in place things like a federal registry so that we know, the types of guns that people have. And, it would just essentially be a federal registry that shows these are the guns that this person has, in case a cop has to go on something like a domestic call. That's the most dangerous call they can go on. So.
Yeah, I could see you're coming after this from a good perspective. Let me ask one other question. What would you say is the ultimate and final purpose of the Second Amendment?
I think it's self-defense against a tyrannical government, which...
We agree. Sure, great. Keep going.
Well, but I think within the Second Amendment, it also implies that we have high regulations in the first 4 words.
Sort of. Well-regulated militia actually meant well-armed, but that's a separate issue. But
well, how do you know? You're interpreting what the Founding Fathers
Well, they said it in the Federalist Papers, right? So it's not just me, but also in the Heller decision, in the 5-4 decision, that said that gun ownership was a right. This was a hotly debated thing.
But do you disagree? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you disagree with the idea of a federal registry like that?
Oh, without a doubt. The only reason you'd want to register the guns is if you want to confiscate them.
Well, or to make sure that people like officers of the law are protected and know what they're going into. A domestic...
That's a good argument,
right?
To your credit. I will try to make a better argument where the problem of the government knowing where every gun is would then lead itself towards mass confiscation. And I would agree with you, a well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
Even though the Army has things like drones and tanks and things like that outarm, citizens that have...
Yes and no. We've seen it in several instances where at least a citizen... That's a good argument, but I would say a little flawed. Where the citizens are able to protect themselves in some ways, it's a much harder population to control.
I understand, but so you think a federal registry would infringe on the rights?
Potentially. I think that there's no good argument, other than potential... I ascribe to the government bad motives and bad intentions when it wants to infringe more on these types of freedoms and liberties.
Well, I understand. I just personally don't see it as an infringement because, like we just said, and I think we agreed that owning a gun is a right. However, yes. I think it was responsibilities. But also I wanted to ask, is voting a right or is that a privilege?
Well, it is a right, and so felons can get their rights back, right? And so, but rights can be suspended or delayed. And we both agree with that. So, for example, somebody in prison doesn't get guns.
Right, no, of course.
Somebody in prison doesn't have the same free speech rights that you might have.
But what's the first thing that you have to do if you want to vote in this country? You have to register, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a federal registration to be able to vote in this country. So why not, and we can agree that, keeping safe and, keeping our elections to where people who shouldn't vote aren't voting is, that's keeping America safe because we don't want people who
That's a fair point. I would say there's there's a technical difference between a voter registration roll and a gun registration
Right, guns
roll.
are much more dangerous.
Well, also, but guns in many different ways, they would go after the guns a lot more than the voter registration roll.
Well, how do we know,
my worldview comes out of one in the 20th century, where almost every totalitarian government went after the guns first. And the confiscation of guns then leads into the erosion of freedom and liberty.
Right, but wouldn't you say in the 20th century, as you just said, that the disparity between the technology that citizens had to protect themselves compared to what the military had, wouldn't you say that there was a much smaller disparity as opposed to what we see nowadays?
Somewhat. I think that's a fair point.
So
I'm acknowledging that's a fair point.
Okay.
But do you see my perspective as well?
No, I do understand.
That an armed citizenry, also it says shall not be infringed, so we have to kind of wrestle with those two things simultaneously.
But so if it's just a semantics argument, then to that point...
Well, it's not. Semantics is meaning. That's literally what the word means. But
you're saying because it says shall not be infringed, we can't do anything.
No,
does that mean voting rights can be infringed? Because it doesn't say it cannot be infringed.
I'm saying I err on the side that more government regulation around guns means that they'll try to take good people's guns away, which then results in less global or let's just say national.
I understand, but wouldn't you say that that more guns can potentially lead to more danger and less guns?
Yes
would
and
lead to less
no.
danger?
I mean, there's plenty of evidence to show that states that have more, so like if you take Houston and Chicago, about comparable populations, Houston actually has warmer weather, which means potentially more gang violence. They have about half, if not even less, the amount of homicides per year than in Chicago. Chicago has much stricter gun laws than Houston, like incredibly strict gun laws.
I understand, but I'm also, well, I think part of what plays into that is the gun laws that are around those cities. They're a lot more lenient than those cities themselves. So I think, I'm not saying that's entirely the cause of it, but I'm saying
I've heard that my whole life, so yeah.
Right, but I'm basically just talking about preventing people that have committed crimes such as domestic violence. I know I mentioned Pam Bondi gave Mel Gibson his rights to purchase a gun again, even though he pled guilty to a battery domestic violence charge in 2011, and yet now he is able to purchase a gun again, which I disagree with because he committed a violent crime. I mean, do you disagree with that personally?
No, I mean, I don't know the details of the case, but I think I've met Mel Gibson. I think he should be able to own a gun. I mean, like
just off of speaking to him though, even though with his criminal history.
I don't know all the details. Do I think that the idea of taking his rights away because of something that happened that I don't know all the details about 14 years ago?
He pled guilty to it though.
Again, I find that to be a little bit of an infringement on basic rights.
Even though he literally
again, I don't know the details around that, but I guess we're getting to a place where do you think anyone that's convicted of violent crime should be able to own guns again?
No, not at
Oh,
all.
wow,
If they're committing a violent crime, absolutely not. I think we should protect people in America, which I think you agree with, and I think that's how we protect America.
That's a balance. Are we going to really say the federal government is going to protect us from ourselves when it comes to guns?
No, I mean it's less about the federal government taking away guns and more just allowing them to protect their citizens. And it's not about getting rid of guns. I'm a gun owner myself. I go hunting. I was on a competitive
What
team.
state would you say has the gun laws that are the most appealing to your worldview?
I don't know specific state laws, if I'm being completely honest with you. But
something to think about.
But I'm speaking, even just the federal registry itself. I think that would protect, a lot of officers of the law. Like I said, when they go on domestic calls, that's the most dangerous call that an officer of the law can go on.
There's an informal registry, not a formal one. Just gun dealers are supposed to report.
Right, but do you really think that they do all the time, though?
No, of course not, obviously. I mean,
right,
I
so
live in
wouldn't the
reality.
federal registry eliminate that problem, then?
Again, I would go back to a formal registry. You register in order to confiscate. It is a prerequisite towards confiscation.
Isn't that just a slippery slope argument, though? If you give one thing, then another thing's
It's a historical argument, right? We see that throughout totalitarian dictatorships throughout the 20th century, where if you want to take the weapons away, you first ask for a collection of all the items that you then want to collect. But I could see, you're coming after this in good faith. I tend to be on a much more libertarian side, even though I'm not libertarian. Where we actually need looser gun laws because I think that
gun laws.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, especially in states like Chicago and Illinois, where it's very basic Second Amendment rights. So I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
In a state like Rhode Island or New York,
right.
It could take a woman upwards of 30 days to get a gun. So let's say a man wants to actually do harm to her, and she gets threats, and the police won't intervene. I think she should be able to get a gun that afternoon to protect herself.
I understand that.
So in that case, I think that gun laws should be looser.
I understand.
I think
in that regard, I do agree with you.
Cool. So that would be an instance of that. And I also will go back to this idea of red flag laws. We have seen case after case of it being abused, of veterans having their weapons taken away because of fake accusations and let's just say faulty accusations, saying that they're mentally unbalanced, so on and so forth.
But do you think that they could investigate cases like that and see if there aren't any medications? I mean, a lot of these antidepressants can change your brain chemistry.
For sure, and some of it, though, is they take the guns away first and they ask questions after. It's a difficult, very, I don't want to say gray area, but edge part of the law, where I tend to, and a respectable position, respect to you, I tend to err on the side of it is a right, the government screws up more than it does correct in this specific portion, and the downside to having more guns is far better than the downside of having only the government have guns.
Even if that can cost American lives, though? I mean, me personally, I would give up all of my guns in a heartbeat if I knew for a fact that it was going to save one life.
Can I do a thought experiment to you?
Sure.
So do you think we should ban driving?
No, I don't think so. And I know where you're going with this.
55,000 people a year die from car accidents, right?
Right, so absolutely. But those are accidents, though. That's not someone intentionally going and killing somebody. Well, that's not true. Some people intentionally do, or some people have DUIs, right? Some of it is an act of agency, not just accidents, right?
meaning that they are reckless with the technology.
I understand.
You would agree a DUI is a reckless act.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a vast majority of auto deaths,
right,
both in the interior of the vehicle and the exterior.
Right, but then what do you have to do to be able to drive, though? You have to get a driver's license. You have to take a test with an instructor.
No, of course, but I'm saying if the pursuit of, to save, if it's all about saving lives, then, then there are certain things that we'd get rid of. I would say, though, that government is not merely there for our safety. It's one of the primary focuses. You have to balance liberty and safety. And that's a tough balance at times. I fall on this issue on the side of liberty. Final thought.
So just one last quick question, I promise. What about something, as I mentioned, with taking a driving test, to be able to get a driver's license, you have to prove that you know how to operate the vehicle safely. What about something similar to that with owning a gun? Some kind of thing where you go to a range with a trained professional, you show that you know how to operate the gun, safely, know how to store it safely, things like that. Yet, and then once you pass that, you get some kind of card that allows you to buy a gun. It's all about protections. It's not about restricting rights.
On that, you might have some agreement with me. Because actually, the number one cause of errant gun deaths is accidental discharges. People that don't know what they're doing with their gun.
I understand.
And so I think that could be prevented through better training. So for that, I actually might have some middle ground.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hope you and your family had a blessed Easter. God
Thank
bless
you.
everybody.
God bless you. Great job. Thank you.